So last week, of course, in fact, it was exactly 1 week ago today, that Jay's upset number one, UCONN. And I think it was 2 days later. Yeah, it was 2 days later. Dan Hurley did a, usual press session after practice and talked about how the Creighton student section was being rude to him and saying some nasty things. And we would play the audio, but unfortunately it won't go out over the video stream, and I don't want to leave those folks high and dry. So I'm just paraphrasing here. But basically,
what a guy.
Basically, he was complaining that, there were naughty things said to him.
John, do you know what was said? Like, have you talked to anybody?
I have no idea. I mean,
me neither.
I'm guessing it's the same usual stuff you hear at a lot of games.
That's kind of what I was leading to. Is it any crazier than anything we haven't heard?
He did claim that there was an F. Dan Hurley that was yelled at him during the national anthem. Interesting that he heard that, considering I actually most of the time I don't have my headphones on, or I have my headphones on during the national anthem. But because the anthem had to be impromptu sung by the crowd, because the guitarist had an issue with his amplifier and couldn't perform. So they just played a piped in version and the crowd actually sang along. I actually took my headphones off.
And sang along too?
Now, I'm not sitting right over by where UConn is standing, but if someone would have said that during the national anthem, I'm thinking it probably would have been heard. But that's just my guess. But anyway, Dan Hurley was upset about, all of that and how, the situation was very classless. Well, the vice provost for student life at Creighton sent out a email to all students today that reads as follows. Last Tuesday, the positive engagement and passion that made the Creighton community proud during our men's basketball game against UConn was exuberant. However, that excitement was sullied by negative interactions with visiting student athletes, coaches, and game officials. We were disappointed to witness this unacceptable and sportsmanlike behavior from our student section, including flagrant profane language, lewd gestures, and comments that were directed towards our guests. These actions do not reflect who we are as a university and will not be tolerated.
So is that why Mac tweeted what he did then a couple of hours ago?
Yes, Mac tweeted something similar. So apparently there's an all points bulletin out, or there's an all encompassing message going out that, we need to behave better.
Yeah, and again,
I'm not here to say I don't sit over there. I don't hear it, but I also know this type of stuff happens everywhere.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially the higher the ranked team is, or the more of a target, especially a certain team or a certain coach is. If that coach has ever done anything untoward, yet they get things yelled at them, hurled at them, signs made against them, all of those different things. It happens everywhere. And I'm not saying I necessarily excuse it, but
we're just wondering kind of how bad it is, especially given who is on the other end of the phone line. If it, to kind of paraphrase it a bit, it's Dan Hurley.
Sure.
That's on the other side of this. Yeah. For those who missed it, Greg McDermott tweeted a couple hours ago. He said, big game tomorrow night versus a talented Seton Hall team. I'm hopeful that we have a huge Creighton student section once again. Be loud, be proud, and be respectful. We can make the CHI a nightmare for opposing teams while representing ourselves in a first-class manner. #RDJ. So it makes me wonder, John, if there is like some validity. Like Amazing Dana says, to that point, for all this, don't you feel like there was something a little extra, though? There must have been. They either must really believe Hurley or that they have video evidence. Like there was the thing of him yelling it with the
there was a video of him coming off the floor where
what did he say? I'll fight you or something?
I don't know. I don't know. There were a lot of people saying that Hurley was yelling up into the crowd that I'll fight you. Other people were saying, we'll beat you next time. I can't tell. I'm not a lip reader, so I have no idea. But obviously he was responding to something that was said in the crowd. I find it hard to believe that, especially given that usually if things go above and beyond, it leads to something more than just a coach making a gesture and, looking up in the stands and yelling something. Usually people have to be restrained if it's something that heinous. So unless there is video or footage of something else, and I'm not saying it couldn't have happened. Of course it could. But given the circumstances, I find it a little hard to believe that there was anything that was done there that I haven't seen done at a lot of other places, including Storrs, Connecticut, which can be rather harsh at times. The difference is a lot of coaches don't even acknowledge it, right?
Mm-hmm.
They don't acknowledge it. I guarantee you that the P word has been yelled at Greg McDermott many times in the last 4 years.
Pterodactyl?
Wow.
I guarantee you it has been done.
People forget that the P is silent in pterodactyl.
People
No,
do
it's
forget.
not pterodactyl.
Pterodactyl.
But it's also in how you react, and it doesn't always excuse the behavior. I've always believed, you shouldn't be yelling that stuff, especially if you're around other kids, right? If you're around little kids, that you should be respectful. I have no problem with you booing. I have no problem with you going after people or saying the ref sucks, obviously.
But you?
Not me. Yeah, me. But I don't know. I appreciate the fact that they're responding. They want to take as high a road as possible. But there's a part of me that's just wondering, all right, this is...
Like that they're doing this because Hurley made such a big fuss about
Well,
it.
he did. He did.
Oh, he definitely did.
I mean, he went out of his way to talk about it and go on about it for a couple of minutes during a press session.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, on one hand, I understand what Daniel is saying, where it's like, for them to respond in this many ways, it makes you wonder if something bad happened. On the other hand, it is Hurley, so that's where I'm kind of at with this entire situation, is that dude loves this type of crap.
Yeah.
He was on game day and he dropped an F-bomb on Saturday. Did you see this? Did you hear about this? He missed a half-court shot and he said the F word.
Yeah.
During a broadcast on ESPN. So, I don't know.
Yeah. Again, now if there's more evidence to the contrary, I'll be happy to and I'm not really taking a harsh stand. I have no problem of just reminding people, hey, be classy, be respectful, don't be a jerk. I have no problem with that. But the fact that it is done after this moment, when
Oh, here we go. Here's an email.
I've experienced a lot of harsher things in a lot of different environments. Let's just put it that way.
From someone, Synth says a large part of the student section chanted F Dan Hurley, saying the actual word 4 or 5 times in a row. Our season tickets are right above them, and it was very obvious. We even commented if Creighton could get a technical for that. Now, there have been those types of chants before.
Well, if that's the case, we missed a lot of technical fouls over the years.
I'm okay with that, but I'm a fan of the F word.
Yeah.
So I don't have any issue with that. By the way, John, you mentioned we weren't going to play the Hurley audio for those in the stream. A text from the 402 writes, doesn't want to leave the poor video stream out of an audio clip, but constantly puts up images and video the radio people cannot see. Pretty rude, really.
That's interesting. Crime Town hypocrite John strikes
again.
But
we always describe what's in the image, just like we describe things other ways. I mean, I just want everyone to be on the same page. That's all.
Pedro writes, hi, guys. I think the coach brings some of this on his own. He's talking about Hurley. He is on the court more than any of his players. He's always working the refs and is screaming at players and the refs all the time. Boo-hoo. He is a jackass. Boo-hoo.
Well, now it's interesting. It's coming out before this game because Shaheen Holloway doesn't invoke those same emotions. But a coach that is coming to town on Saturday might evoke similar emotions from folks. One, Shaka Smart. So maybe Creighton's getting out ahead of it and reminding folks a game early.
That's not a bad idea.
To remember, Shaka's coming to town, and he is another one that other teams fans love to hate.
By the way, Jeff has also emailed in that he also heard the students chanting the F Dan Hurley thing.
Oh, sure.
And
yeah.
back in my day, J.J. Redick was out there, and they chanted it at him, and he was a college athlete. I think there should be more F words.
It sounds like woke has come for Creighton.
It really has. This is some disgusting stuff. Back in my day, you could say curse words at basketball games.
Yeah.
And now the woke mob has come for Greg McDermott's student section. Very sad.
I mean, technically, it's great. It's Creighton's student section.
And the mainstream media is reporting it.
Yep,
hey, we report, you decide.
Yeah, indeed.
We report, you decide.